Good evening. I would like to call to order the Kaiser City Council in regular session. It is Monday, June 6th, 2022, and ask our city recorder to please call roll.
Councilor Herrera.
Here.
Councilor Reed.
Here.
Councilor Kohler.
Here.
Mayor Clark.
Here.
Council President Smith.
Here.
Councilor Starr.
Councilor Starr is excused this evening.
Councilor Duran.
Here.
And Youth Councilor Coleman.
Here. Thank you very much. I would like to invite forward Nicholas Elder, Boy Scout this evening, to introduce himself, and then he will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. If you would all please rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So, Mr. Alder, would you tell us a little bit about yourself, what troop you're with, and what badge you're here for tonight?
I'm from Troop 20. I am here for the badge of communication, and I am also here for a potential Eagle Scout project.
Wonderful. So are you going to be talking to us under public testimony about that project, or you're going to be working on that at some point?
I'll be working on that at some point.
All right. Well, fabulous. Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance. We appreciate that.
Yeah, problem.
All right. Thank you very much. Well, this evening we have several items under special orders of business, plus a couple additional walk-ons. So, you know what? We're just going to be celebrating tonight. And we're going to start off with the Pride Month Proclamation. Let me make sure I got the right one. There it is. And it reads as follows. Whereas our nation was founded on the principle of equal rights for all people, but the fulfillment of this promise has not been achieved for many Americans. And whereas the historical riot at Stonewall in New York City on June 28th, 1969 is considered a turning point for the LGBTQ liberation in the United States. And whereas for more than 50 years, June has been celebrated as Pride Month nationwide in honor of the citizens who rose up and fought at Stonewall against discriminatory laws. And whereas everyone should be able to live without fear of prejudice, discrimination, violence, and aggression based on race, ethnicity, religion, class, gender identity, sexual orientation, age, mental, or physical disability. And whereas June has become a nationally recognized month to celebrate and honor Americans who identify as lesbian, gay, bisexual, transsexual, queer, inquiring, asexual, two-spirit, plus, how they have overcome adversity and enriched our society. Sorry, that was an awkwardly worded sentence on my part. Whereas the city of Kaiser strives to treat all people with dignity and respect and recognizes that our diverse LGBTQIA2+ community includes people of all races, ethnicities, religions, and professions who desire to live in peace, who deserve to live in peace. Now, therefore, I, Kathy Clark, Mayor of the City of Kaiser, together with the Kaiser City Council assembled in regular session, do hereby proclaim June 2022 as LGBTQIA2+ Pride Month and encourage all the people of Kaiser to celebrate and embrace the rich diversity that our LGBTQIA2+ community members bring to our economy, arts, culture, and society. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the City of Kaiser to be affixed this day, the 6th day of June, 2022. So this proclamation will be on display here. We will also have displays on our website, on our Facebook page, and here in the lobby, I hope, to be able to continue to celebrate the achievements of the people in our community who identify as LGBTQIA in our community. So thank you very much. And I will leave that here for us to continue and to celebrate. And I've also seen the reader board already has that on it. We have another celebration this evening, and that is the proclamation for Juneteenth. And this was the first one that we did last year for Juneteenth, was just as the federal government had designated June 19th as Juneteenth. And the proclamation goes as follows. Whereas June 19th of each year commemorates the emancipation from slavery of those who have been slaves in the United States. And whereas June 19th is also known as Juneteenth, Emancipation Day, Jubilee Day, and Freedom Day, and is the oldest African American holiday observance in the United States. And whereas Juneteenth, or June 19th, 1865, commemorates an important step toward the abolition of slavery and is the date on which Union General Gordon Granger rode into Galveston, Texas, and issued General Order No. 3, requiring the immediate freedom of more than 250,000 enslaved African Americans in Texas. And whereas Juneteenth has now been recognized by the United States government, the state of Oregon, and the city of Kaiser, and shall be commemorated on the 19th day of June each year as a tribute to those African Americans who fought so long for freedom and worked so hard to make the goal of equality a reality. And whereas the Declaration of Emancipation was a new start, not an end, of the fight for equal rights for all African Americans, all of whom have the right to live in peace and with no fear of violence, harassment, or injustice. And whereas the city of Kaiser is committed to justice, equity, diversity, and inclusion for all people, providing services to all with dignity and respect. Now, therefore, I, Kathy Clark, Mayor of the City of Kaiser, together with the Kaiser City Council assembled in regular session, do hereby proclaim June 19, 2022 as Juneteenth, and further proclaim that June 19th shall be observed and celebrated annually on that day, and urge all the people of Kaiser to remember and learn from the tragic lessons of the past so we can continue to strive for a just and equitable future. So this proclamation will also be on display, and I am happy to say that we will be celebrating and commemorating Juneteenth on the 19th, but also recognize the holiday of June 20th for city closures, city office closures, and hope that people will take that opportunity to engage in some wonderful activities to learn more about Juneteenth, equity, and inclusion in our community and in our state, which is why our next council meeting will be on June 21st. Finally, I have a walk-on proclamation this evening at the request of Linda Warner, who asked that we do a proclamation regarding Gun Violence Awareness Day. And after I read her email, I did go ahead and issue this proclamation. Although the day has passed, the need has not. So I'm going to walk this on with concurrence of City Council. The proclamation reads as follows. Whereas on 29 January 2013 in Chicago, Hadiah Pendleton, age 15, was shot in the back and killed by two men who told police they had intended to shoot rival gang members. And whereas homicides and assaults committed by people using guns are concentrated in 127 of the largest cities in the United States, resulting in more than 110 people killed and over 200 injured nationwide each day, but are not isolated to those cities. And whereas people choose guns as weapons for assault, suicide, homicide, domestic violence, drug and gang violence, and other acts of violence, because of a gun's portability as well as the level and range of destructive power are significantly higher than other weapons readily available. And whereas on 3rd of June 2022, Hadiah would have celebrated her 25th birthday. Whereas to remember all the birthdays and life achievements never realized because a person chose to shoot and injure or kill another person, Hadiah's birthday is an appropriate symbol of lives whose accomplishments and achievements are forever lost. And whereas community awareness, condemnation, and active prevention of people obtaining and using guns and acts of violence reminds each person of our responsibilities that accompany our rights to preserve and protect our communities so we can live in peace with one another. Now, therefore, I, Kathy Clark, Mayor of the City of Kaiser, together with the Kaiser City Council assembled in regular session, do hereby proclaim June 3rd, 2022 as Gun Violence Awareness and Prevention Day, and urge all the people of Kaiser to take every opportunity each day to secure any and all guns, to treat one another with dignity and respect, and actively use the most powerful tool known to resolve conflict, the way of peace. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the City of Kaiser to be affixed this day, the 6th of June, 2022. And I hope everyone will take this to heart so we don't have to do more days like this. I thank you all for your attention for these proclamations. Now we have two celebrations. One's on the agenda, but the other one isn't. Very recently, there was a national convention of the International Association of Municipal Recorders. And honored was our own Tracy Davis. I'm going to read a couple of the comments from the nomination letters for the, is the International, I'm sorry, didn't have that on the right place. The International, it's okay. Institute of Municipal Recorders is the Quill Award, one of the highest honors, and this is national and well-deserved. Among some of the comments, it is my honor to endorse Tracy Davis for the Quill Award. It's just that simple. It's an honor. Tracy has been serving OAMR, that's the Oregon Association of Municipal Recorders, tirelessly from the moment she joined the organization. She has served on numerous committees, including records management, recorder's manual, conference planning, professional growth and development, and the education committee, serving as the chair from 2008 and 9. She has been a trainer and facilitator at many OAMR conferences, providing education sessions to new and seasoned clerks. Some of the other things that were mentioned were included in 2015, Tracy Davis established and partially funded the Davis Harris Scholarship, a scholarship program to allow an OAMR member to attend 3 years at the Northwest Clerks Institute, all expenses paid. Tracy has been investing in her industry. Also, Tracy has been instrumental in helping city recorders recover from fire, flood, any other natural disaster, helping them get started in the profession and encourage them all along the way. Another person wrote, let me get to the right page here. What's on the back? It was with great pleasure that we submit this letter of endorsement supporting the nomination of Tracy Davis, City of Kaiser, Oregon, for the prestigious IMC Quill Award. In considering the criteria for the Quill Award, Tracy checks off every one of the boxes. Her nomination application provides the details of her exemplary history as a member of the clerk profession, but we would like to draw attention to her extensive contributions at the IMC level. Actively transitioned the Washington Clerks Institute into the present-day Northwest Clerks Institute, chairing the 3-state NCI Education Committee for 7 years. Now, mind you, this is all while keeping us on track. I know, we're a full-time job. Has attended every IIMC annual conference since 2001, with one exception due to a family emergency. Chaired the IIMC Policy Review Committee and Program Review Certification Committee. Served as the IIMC Region 9 Director. Currently serves on the IIMC Foundation Board of Directors, has served on multiple committees and task forces as a presenter at the annual conference, and served on the Portland Annual Conference Organizing Committee, and so much more. This is 14 pages of people who concur. And I think we all agree that Tracy Davis has made a difference in Kaiser, in Oregon, and in our country in her service, bringing excellence to her profession and also personally with her integrity and hard work. Ladies and gentlemen, Tracy Davis.
if I can say something really quick.
Yes, please.
First of all, I'm very honored and very humbled by this award. It was a surprise up until about April, so I knew I was going there to get it. But I couldn't have done this without the city's support. I mean, it takes a team to do everything that we do here, and so I'm very honored. But thank you for supporting me for almost 30 years in all my professional development and allowing me to be involved and teach. So thank you.
Thank you, Tracy. Our other honoree tonight is none other than the Celtic Girl of the Year, Miranda Coleman. Eric Jesperson, the principal at McNary, called me last week and let me know that Miranda was going to be receiving that honor as the Girl Celtic of the Year, and asked for a couple of comments. I said, how long you got? Because of the work that Miranda has done. This is Miranda's last meeting as a youth city councilor, because she's doing this wonderful thing called graduating. And she's made it really clear where she's going. That kind of green and yellow thing. There we go. We got kind of the duck bookends here. So, Miranda, we're so excited to wish you well and want to thank you for your tremendous work as a youth counselor. You have set a very high bar. Your constant attentiveness to the work being done here, letting me call on you out of the blue and go, hey, so what do you think? Without completely freaking out, and which not all adults would be able to do either. But I've watched you take on new challenges and look for opportunities to grow both personally and as a leader among students and in our community. You are going to continue to do great things. I'm not going to say you're going to do great things, you already are, but you're going to keep on doing it. So congratulations to Miranda Coleman, soon to be graduate of the world-class McNary High School, and soon to join the Oregon Ducks. Miranda Coleman. So I'm going to give each counselor an opportunity to say something about their work with you over this last year. I'm going to start with Counselor Herrera and just a sentence or two.
Miranda's been a pleasure being part of this, and I think probably the highlight of my time with Miranda was our little event over at for the Ukrainian folks, and that was wonderful that we did that with your mom, and we ended up praying with all the Ukrainian people afterwards, and that was very special to me. So, but we're gonna miss you, and go Ducks!
Councilor Reed.
Wow. I have gotten to know Miranda on many, in many perspectives this year, and she is just so impressive. She is involved in everything. She prioritizes, I'm going to say well, although I may not always be happy about it, but she gets things done, and she prioritizes, and she hasn't neglected to have fun this year, and that is really important. And so I appreciate the balance that you are approaching the rest of your life with, because that's really important to be able to know what you've undertaken, and to be able to do everything well, and to be able to have some time to have fun as well. So I wish you the best, and love you lots.
I still have to do my presentation tomorrow.
Yes, you do. And I'm looking forward to it.
This didn't count. Councilor Kohler.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I've known Miranda for a while, since she was a neighbor to somebody that's pretty active in our community, and that's how I first got to know her. But you think about some of the things that she's done this year, just a few. She's gone from giving blood or organizing blood drives to proms to pulling weeds. I mean, all of those things she's been very active in, and there's not very many activities and things that I don't go to that she doesn't have a fingerprint on somewhere, and I appreciate that. I appreciate being on the Cuyahoga Creek Watershed Council with her and so many other things, but thank you. We will miss you.
Thank you.
Council President Smith.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Well, I'm just going to say, I think every time I hear anybody talking about a youth, I always hear, Miranda Coleman, Miranda. And I was like, this girl is everywhere. She is everywhere. It's like every time I see something on social media, and I just want to tell you, I'm so incredibly proud of you. I've been blown away from day one when you spoke up, you speak your mind, you bring information to us. You've been so engaged with everything, and girl, you are unstoppable. So you just go after whatever dream and don't let anybody tell you can't, because you're going to be huge. It's going to be amazing. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Councilor Duran.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Well, I haven't got to know you much, but seeing you across the room here, I've been really impressed with everything that you've done and everything that you've accomplished in the last year. It's amazing. I have to, Councilor Smith pretty much said everything I was going to say. Just seeing what you've done and what you're involved in is just amazing. And I hope there's others at the school that have paid attention, because you are definitely, leading the younger community with what you've done. So just keep it up.
Thank you much. And to remind everybody that what you're planning to study this year, make sure you pull your microphone down. There you
Okay.
go.
So okay, give me a second. Okay. I'm planning to study major in business, and I'm thinking of focusing like entrepreneurship or marketing or something like that for right now. Things change, but that's kind of what I'm focusing on right now. Is this my chance to speak now too?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
You rock.
Okay, so I was going to plan something to say, but I'm just gonna wing it. So I remember being told about this opportunity by my neighbor, Matt Lawyer, and honestly, I had no idea what to expect at all. I was very nervous because I was gonna be sitting in this really cool looking podium type situation with a bunch of awesome people that are older than me, and it's just I'm here. I just can't believe the year's already over. I cannot tell you how much of a privilege it is to be able to be up here with you guys, and all of the valuable stuff that I've learned from you guys from these meetings is unreal. And I think that's what makes Kaiser so special, is this really tight-knit sense of community, and being able to reach out to our youth like this, having these opportunities, not just the council, being a youth counselor, but all these different committees for youth, being youth liaisons on, it's crazy. And I am so lucky and so proud to have grown up in Kaiser and have had you guys leading the way as well. So I just want to say thank you so much for this opportunity and everything that I've learned. It's just been amazing, and it makes me so sad that today is my last meeting, but I'm excited to see what the future holds. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Miranda. Thank you. So I'll just wrap it up and say, well done, Miranda, and we know that you will come back and help the community and keep bringing your leadership everywhere you go. So looking forward to that. Well, we've done a lot of celebrating, so let's get to our committee reports, celebrating what we are needing to get done in this community. We keep on getting stuff. We keep on working on stuff. So Rick Keene, why don't you talk to us about traffic safety bike ped?
Madam Mayor, thank you. Members of the council. I'm Rick Keene. I'm here representing tonight the Traffic Safety, Pedestrian, and Bicycle Committee. And I won't take very much of your time. I just wanted to mention a couple of things. The West Kaiser Neighborhood Association has come before us a couple of different times requesting some traffic calming measures to be done on Shoreline and on Cummings. And presently, staff members of the police department and/or Public Works have been doing the field work, the data collection, to support those requests that will come to you at some future date, probably fairly quickly. They were talking about stop signs on Shoreline at Dearborn, basically making a four-way stop out of that intersection to slow traffic down on that section of Shoreline that basically is, there's no stops between Shamawa and Cummings. And then the other one would be a speed table on Cummings, somewhere in the vicinity of Cummings Grade School, for the same sort of reason. So you'll be seeing that request. The other thing I wanted to mention is this is outside of Keizer, but the historic Columbia River Highway and the bike and pedestrian improvements have been put into that over quite a few years now. At our next meeting on the 16th, I'm going to take about 15 minutes or so and give the group a presentation about that, about everything that's been done there. You probably know that from Troutdale out to Multnomah Falls, basically the old historic highway still exists, and you can drive on it, and therefore you can ride bikes on it and so forth. But from there on to the Dalles, most of the highway was destroyed when the water level I-84 was built. And so there's been efforts for probably it's been going on 20 years, I would say, of reestablishing that connection so that you can ride a bike or walk all the way from Troutdale to the Dalles without ever getting on I-84. Very significant improvements have been made out there already. Quite a few new bridges that have been built, and they look just like the old historic bridges that were built way back in 1915. And if you remember the Mitchell Point Tunnel that was up near the Hood River, it was modeled after a tunnel in Switzerland where they bored through the rock, had rock windows where you could look out into the Columbia River, and it was probably the highlight of the whole historic Columbia River Highway. And that was destroyed in the mid-60s when they built I-84, but now it's been recreated as a bike and pedestrian route. It's not open to traffic yet, but all the excavation's done. It's about 650 feet long. It's got the windows in it, just like the original tunnel did. So anyway, this is already a national asset for those people that ride bikes and look at scenery and all those sorts of things. And so I just thought our group, we talk a lot about bikes in our committee, and I thought they'd be real interested in seeing that. So anybody that would like to come to our meeting on the 18th and take a look at that, you're sure welcome to do that. So that's all I had. Is there any questions?
No, that sounds absolutely fascinating. And for people who can't get to the meeting, it is broadcast live on Channel 23, the same way you're watching the council meeting now. So that's going to be great to get that information out there. Did you have anything, Council President Smith? I do have one thing I've gotten better at since all of the agendas for the Area Commission on Transportation and the Metropolitan Planning Organization, both of which Kaiser is a member. I'm having Debbie Lockhart send those to you. So as you look at those agendas, if there are questions about some of the regional planning that's happening for traffic safety and bike ped, I would welcome input, especially now that we're starting to work on the regional, well, it's the Regional Transportation System Plan, but it has a new name, the MTP, Metropolitan Transportation Plan, I think. Yeah, that's what it's called. So I'm looking at a fellow board member in the back who, yeah, that's the right one. So anyway, definitely would encourage the committee to look at those agendas, and if there are particular issues or projects that you have questions about, I would welcome those questions.
Okay, very good.
All right, thank you.
And after a few minutes ago, I've got to say, go Beavs.
One little thing.
Councilor Herrera has a question.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just had to say, the way the process is working is really fun to watch. I was there at the West Kaiser Neighborhood Association meeting along with Police Chief John Teague, and when this came up and these ideas were things that I thought, wow, this can happen. And watching the process go through the planning and it's really interesting and fun to see that how it works. And I've watched this happen in so many projects, and I enjoy that. And also want to thank you for the historical. I was just on 840 today, and I always look up. It's the road on top, right, or the bottom?
It's in various places, but in a lot of places it's on top. And
Yeah, okay.
at Mitchell Point, it'll be like 50 feet above the.
That's very interesting
freeway.
information. So, and thanks for your for all you do for your volunteering. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you, Rick. Lord Christopher, Kaiser, the Kaiser Public Arts Commission. I should just say art.
What?
I should just say art.
Yeah, I have good stuff too. Hi, my name is Lori Christopher, and I live in Keizer, Oregon. Thank you so much, Madam Mayor, City Councilor, and City staff. Happy to be here tonight. First thing I want to open with is we have 2 openings on KPEC. That is why I'm here, again, speaking to you so soon. So we only have 5. It's a really fun committee.
Absolutely.
We get lots of stuff done,
Yep.
and we've got really fun things coming up.
Absolutely.
Thank you. So any of you who are watching, if you want to be involved in art in Kaiser, you can apply for that position. You probably won't make the June. I forgot what I don't have Deb here.
It's this Thursday.
Yeah, so I probably won't, you won't make June, but you will make the next one, and we would love to have you, and we have a great time. I also want to mention Tracy Davis. I am so sad that you've only been here 30 years, and you're going to have to work at least another 10. And especially if you keep doing all of these wonderful things, we'll make you work longer. So I just want you to know you cannot ever leave. And I feel bad about that. Don't be so good. Okay. Okay, we got KPAC. Good. We have a gorgeous display right now out in the North and East Gallery. Beautiful. It is by Sandra Pierce and Tara Choate. Now, Tara Choate may sound familiar to you because she is the artist who did the design for our dancing cows, Rosalie's cows, that we're going to put in the roundabout, and we hope to have that installed no later than June. So we have it currently, the design work is currently being reviewed by Rick Smith of Smith & Steel, and he'll get back to us. We'll know how much it's going to cost us, and then we can start fundraising. But one of our board members, Michelle Roland Schwartz, has already applied for a Miller grant. And if we're accepted, you had to send a letter of interest. And if they accept our proposal, then we have to do a formal grant. But we're good, and we're ready to do that. We've only got 30 days if they accept us. But it's such a great design, and it's so, it's just a winner. We're thinking, there's 4 cows. And the cows are in primary colors. They're going to be in the circle, and they have hula hoops on them. 3 of the cows are named. The 4th cow isn't. So we're trying to figure out, and that's why I'm putting this out there to the public. We're going to figure out a way that you can participate in naming that 4th cow. It'll also raise some funds for the installation of that art. So we're excited about that. Also, Deb gives me these wonderful notes. Also, we've selected the holiday card for this year. It's a lovely little woman that lives in a retirement village in Kaiser. Her name is Opal Fricky. She's in her 90s. She did a wonderful picture for us, and our chair, Kim Steen, who's in the back, is going to meet with her. They're going to videotape her acceptance. It's real hard for her to get down here to have the acceptance of the award and give her prize money. So they're going to film that for us, and then that'll be available. We'll get it to Kaiser TV so we can have it out there. She was absolutely thrilled. Kim was going to drop in impromptu to meet with her, and she said no, she needs some time so that she could look her best. So whenever we get that notification, Kim will drop in on her. Additionally, I've been working with Mark Colai, who's a McNary art instructor, and his kids are starting to get excited about utility box art. Yes. So if we're funded, I think his kids will be ready to go. Now here's the bonus there. Adam Brown, new city manager, has experience with this and did it in his former job. So this is a step up for us. Smile, we're happy. And so he's going to be able to help us with that. So I really think, it's like, I know I quote Jerry McGee all the time. This project may be getting ripe. It's really close to ripe. I also want to talk to you about the eagle sculpture. We'll talk later when we go through the budget process. But we really were hoping that we would get a donation for the purchase of that sculpture. And I reached out to the property owners and they said, what everybody else has said, we really don't want that to leave our property. We love that sculpture and we'd like to see it stay. So here's $5,000. So we've got $5,000 from him. So we're happy about that. Now, I need you to do one thing tonight. I want to talk about, I had the opportunity, well, let me back up. We're planning in November, Native American Heritage Month. So how that's going to impact you is we're going to have Native American arts in the form of basket weaving and beading that's going to be in our front display cases to honor Native American art. In addition to that, we had an opportunity to go to Chemawa Indian School on a 2-hour tour on Saturday. You cannot believe this place is an art museum. They have allowed their children spaces on their walls to paint murals. As I'm talking, I'm getting chills. It looks like a quilt because of all of this wonderful art. Most of them are the badges of the individual tribes because, as you know, it's one of 4 federal Indian schools. So it's not just our kids in our 9 recognized tribes in Oregon. Children come to that boarding school in September. They leave in June, but they come from all over the United States. So it's tribes from all over the United States. And the art is spectacular. And so in seeing that, and then looking out on our council chamber, I happened to notice how, oh my gosh, it's a cardboard box. A lot of brown and not a lot of art. So I don't need a decision tonight, but I would like you to start thinking about, shouldn't we add art to the side panels of our permanent collection so that we can showcase local and Northwest artists? Just food for thought, just think about it. But think of look how it changes our entrance into the Civic Center. And we would only put permanent collection pieces. We currently own 3, but one of the goals of KPAC was to purchase a new piece of art annually to add to the permanent collection, thereby encouraging local artists to display in our galleries, but also supporting those local businesses. Each one of them is an independent local business. Think about that. So one of those things we want to do is a student art wall. So one of those panels we would then dedicate to student art. And we have our student art and emerging walls, and we would want to set aside one that is especially for them. Now, I say all that to say, we have selected the piece for this year. I've got to make sure I told you everything. Oh, we're going to be doing a little redecorating out front. Now, I know that's why I'm asking you about these walls, because that's not KPAC's, but out there is. So we're going to be moving things around a little bit. So number one, it's going to be a nice little refresh. It moves the art around so that people get an opportunity to see the art in a different place. So just be excited because it's going to look great. We had a unanimous decision on that. Well, I take that back. Laura had to leave. But other than that, the rest of us decided on some changes we could make. And one of them is we're going to move Party Girls, which is that beautiful Colleen Cronister iris picture. It's just a killer picture. We think that the Wallace House historic sign is better placed up front, right by the story poles where the Wallace House sits on top of one. So that makes sense that if you're out on that area and you walk in that door, here's information about the Wallace House. That's a much better companion piece. So that's one of the changes we'll make. And that'll allow us to bring Party Girls up front. So a lot of people who have never seen that piece of work will now have an opportunity to do so. So those kinds of things are what's happening. Now, I wish I had a picture of this. Debbie Lockhart is making me do this because we've sort of waited till the last minute, which is what we do because we want to make sure we've got money to pay for it. And so we waited for the last minute, and this is the piece we want to buy right there. I don't know if you can zoom in. Do these cameras zoom in?
They do. Just give them a minute. He's gonna try. There we go.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Not Adam's head.
Okay, I'm still holding it.
There we go.
Okay.
He's trying to
so
zoom
you
in.
can see it's, whoop, that one. And that one shows the Willamette Valley, and it shows grapevines. And we felt it is a wonderful complement to the landscapes that we have. And as we continue to buy, we'll start moving those in, and then you'll be able to enjoy them in the council chambers as well. In addition to that, we have enough money to buy over there.
Yes.
Our first piece of student art. Now, here's a fun fact. This piece is called Four Seasons, and it's by a young artist by the name of Rachel Wood. I know this is the first you're hearing this. He may or may not be related to her. It's his daughter. She did a great job. We had some wonderful pictures from her, and everybody loved this Four Seasons picture. So that's the first picture that we'll buy that will start our student art collection. And it's very reasonable, it's $30. So, but who knows? She may turn into being Picasso. Okay, so what I need from you tonight, from Debbie, is someone to make a motion to approve that we purchase Vines to Wine by Lorraine Dye, and Four Seasons by Rachel Wood. That's the motion we need passed, and then Shannon will work directly with the artist to do whatever it is lawyerly that you do.
So, do you want to do that now, or do we do that under other business, suspend the rules and take that matter? I'm looking at our city attorney.
You can do it at any time, but if you want to do it now, you do need to suspend the rules.
All right, so we'll need a motion. Again, it's Vines to Wine by, oh, you've got it.
Lorraine Dye.
You've got it, all right.
And you have the dollar amounts?
$600, and Four Seasons by Rachel Wood, $30.
Okay. Yep,
Okay.
got that.
So I need a motion to suspend the rules to take up the matter of the purchase of art.
I move that we suspended the rules to take up the matter of the purchase of art.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded to suspend the rules to take up this matter of purchase of art. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. Motion passes unanimously. Councilor Reed.
I move that the Kaiser City Council approve the purchase of two pieces of art. The first being Vines to Wines by Lorraine Dye for $600, and the second being Four Seasons by Rachel Wood for $30.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to purchase the two works of art as described. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed signify by saying no. Motion passes unanimously.
Excellent.
Done.
As soon as Shannon lets me know that those purchases have been completed, we'll start redecorating. So thank you so much for all you do. Appreciate it.
All right, thank you very much. All right, that concludes committee reports. We need now to go to public comment. This time is provided for citizens to address the council on any matters other than those on the agenda scheduled for public hearing. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 public hearings this evening. It's all related to budget. So we're going to pop through those, but if you're here for anything related to budget under public hearing, stand by. Other than that, this is your time, and we have, before we go to written testimony, I would like to acknowledge for the record written comment that has been received. Received an email from Suzanne White, a Kaiser resident, library support, Irma Garrison, Kaiser resident, library support, Gregory Gilbert, Kaiser resident, presumed from the context of the email, Pride Month. Michaela Dunn did not list a residence and memorial for her brother. Just as a note, for all of you. That was handled, I passed that on to Mayor-elect Chris Hoy of Salem, because the property she was talking about was actually in Salem, and the City of Salem staff is working with her on that. And then Linda Warner, Kaiser resident, National Gun Violence Day, and you heard the proclamation that was issued a short time ago on Gun Violence Awareness and Prevention Day. So with that, that is public comment written. And then under public comment, Rhonda Rich, have you signed up for the West Kaiser Neighbor Association? And you're going to talk about the turf fields.
Good evening, council and staff. My name is Rhonda Rich, and I'm here tonight as president of the West Kaiser Neighborhood Association. And I'm here tonight to ask that the West Kaiser Neighborhood Association be involved with the next task force that will be created to move forward if the artificial turf fields at the Kaiser Rapids Park project is approved. It's important that we are involved at the beginning and not at the end of the planning and designing. We want to be part of the discussions for the solutions so that in the future we are not presenting the problems. The WICNA has a history and a good working relationship with the city staff in the past in numerous projects at Kaiser Rapids Park over the past 16 years. Nate Brown, predecessor to Shane, Community Development Director at that time, back in 2005 or so, involved us in the urban growth boundary expansion to include Kaiser Rapids Park as the new regional park. So we were involved with that. He also included us in the footwork in creating the buffer adjacent to the new play area that it's being developed by the river. I was actually out there with them with the tape measure, and we're measuring out for the buffer there where the path is now. He also, we had several neighborhood representatives on the Marine Facility Task Force. Dave Helgeman and Mike Smith were included in the planning process for the marine facility. And there were a lot of good things brought up before the committee on that and were put into effect. We have had representatives and extensive communication with the neighborhood in the master planning of the park in 2006, 2014, and 2021. We appreciate the City Council's work group's additional recommendations, particularly to ensure good communication with the public and in particular with the nearby neighborhood. It is to everyone's benefit to include all of the stakeholders in the design phase. The WICNA ensures valuable input in representing the adjacent neighborhood who will also be users of this new project at Kaiser Rapids Park. I want to talk briefly about some funding because what it all comes down to is, do we have enough money to do what needs to be done? Arpa funding should be calculated to develop the needed turf soccer fields with adequate paved parking, especially if the fields are going to be used year-round. They should be attractive parking area with landscape sections such as in the marine facility, which should include the recommended amount of parking from the master plan to accommodate 200 to 250 cars. The parking area that is recommended of 60 to 220 that is budgeted in this proposal does not meet this requirement. It will only accommodate about 40 vehicles. Another recommendation in the master plan, which should be planned concurrently with the layout of the fields, is adding vegetation, trees, and our berms to separate and buffer park uses and noise from adjacent housing. Both of these recommendations on parking and buffer can be found in pages C34 and C35 in the 2021 Parks and Recreation Master Plan. So we hope that sufficient funds are allocated from the ARPA funds so that these needs can be accomplished. We should reserve SDC funds for land purchases around the park. There is still a sliver of land that could be purchased in the future, and other amenities that cannot be identified now for ARPA funds, but may be desirable in the near future. So we, the West Kaiser Neighborhood Association, hope that by working together, we can create a soccer complex that we can be proud of, one that has beautiful fields for the players to play on with attractive functional surroundings that will be enjoyed by all. All right, thank you.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions for Rhonda Rich? All right, thank you so much for coming and sharing So next phase, after deciding to, whether or not to move forward with the agreement with Marion County, that's when we can get into the conversation about making sure a lot of public outreach, design, partnerships, et cetera, to make that facility one that we all can be proud of and use for many years to come. So everybody stay tuned. There's good stuff coming.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. I don't have anybody else signed up specifically for general public testimony. So if not, then we will go into our series of public hearings. And we will start off with, okay, gotta scroll here. All right, let's start off with open a public hearing for an ordinance setting the water rates 2023, repealing ordinance number 2021-834. City Manager.
I'm going to turn these over to Director Wood.
All right, thank you. Mr. Wood.
Madam Mayor, City Council, as discussed during the Long Range Planning Task Force meetings and also the 2 Budget Committee meetings, the 2022-23 City of Kaiser budget includes a 4% rate increase for water fees. This will equate into about $67,000 additional revenue to the water fund. And again, these funds can't be used for anything other than our water system. The driving factor for the rate increase is the continued completion of the capital outlay associated with the master plan. With that, if there's any additional questions, I'd feel free to take those. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Were there any questions on the staff report or the proposal? All right, I have no one signed up to testify on this issue. Is there anyone here who would like to address the council tonight on the water rates? Seeing none. Anything further before I close the public hearing? Public hearing is now closed. Council President Smith.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I move the Kaiser City Council adopt a bill for an ordinance 2022, setting water rates 2023, repealing ordinance number 2021-834.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the Kaiser City Council adopt a bill for an ordinance 2022, setting water rates 2023, repealing ordinance number 2021-834. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously with one absent, and that's Councilor Starr. All right, that takes us to item 7B, resolution amending the City of Kaiser Police Services Fee, repealing Resolution R 2021-3176. Public hearing is now open. Mr. Wood.
Madam Mayor, City Council, also as discussed during the Long Range Planning Task Force and the Budget Committee meetings, the 2022-23 City of Kaiser approved budget includes a $1 increase per month for the police services fee. Contrary to what we had originally discussed during the Long Range Planning Task Force, the increase is only $1 as opposed to $2 per month, like we were originally planning on. This will result in an additional $70,000 in additional revenue in support of the police department. And again, this is to support 5 additional police officers. And with that, if there's any additional questions.
Thank you very much. Were there any questions on the staff report or packet information? Councilor Reed.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just to clarify, the original police fee was set up to support 5 additional police officers, not the 70,000, right?
That is correct, yes.
Okay, just wanted to clarify.
All right, thank you. Any other questions? Thank you very much. I don't have anybody signed to testify under this public hearing. Is there anyone who would like to address the council on this issue? Seeing none, any additional information required by council before I close the public hearing? Public hearing is now closed. Council President Smith.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I move the Kaiser City Council adopt Resolution R 2022, amending the City of Kaiser Police Services Fee, repealing Resolution R 2021-3176.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the Kaiser City Council adopt Resolution R 2022, amending the City of Kaiser Police Services Fee, repealing Resolution R 2021-3176. Any further discussion? Councilor Kohler.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I've had a couple of constituents express concern about the percentage of that increase. I just thought maybe it would be good to just address that and say, this is why that percentage is the way it is.
Mr. Wood?
Madam Mayor, City Council, This is only the second time we've actually increased it since it was initiated in 2017. So that's the largest driver. Also, we are seeing rates of inflation that are a lot higher than what we've seen in the past, unfortunately. And this does provide for the resources to outfit those officers as well. So those are the primary driving forces for the rate increases.
Thank you. I just wanted to make sure it was clarified.
All right, thank you very much. Anything further? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed signify by saying no. Motion passes unanimously with one absent. Yes, Councilor Starr. That takes us to item 7C, a resolution declaring the city's election to receive state revenues, and then a resolution certifying that the city of Kaiser provides 4 or more municipal services. Public hearing is now open. Mr. Wood.
Madam Mayor, City Council, the state requires the city to declare its intent to receive shared revenues, and shared revenues are primarily driven by alcohol sales. The state is requiring us to say that, yes, we want to receive those revenues, and in total, that's approximately $430,000 that we use to support the general fund, and the general fund, again, is primarily police services. We're also required to certify that the city of Kaiser provides 4 or more municipal services, which we do, in fact, do. So with that, if there's any additional questions.
All right, thank you very much. Were there any questions on the staff report or the resolutions? Thank you very much. I do not have anybody signed up to testify under this topic. Is there anyone who would like to address the council this evening on the election to receive state revenues and that the city provides 4 more services? Okay. Anything else before I close the public hearing? Public hearing is now closed. Council President Smith.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I move that the Kaiser City Council approve resolution R 2022 declaring the city's election to receive state revenues.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the Kaiser City Council adopt resolution R 2022 declaring the city's election to receive state revenues. Discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed signify by saying no. Hearing no objection, motion passes unanimously with one absent. That's Councilor Starr. Second resolution, Council President Smith.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I move that the Kaiser City Council approve resolution R 2022 certifying that the city of Kaiser provides 4 or more municipal services.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the Kaiser City Council adopt resolution R 2022 certifying that the city of Kaiser provides 4 or more municipal services. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed signify by saying no. Motion passes unanimously with one absent, Councilor Starr. That takes us to item 7D, which is a resolution certification of lighting district assessments. Mr. Wood.
Madam Mayor, City Council, on an annual basis, the city goes through a mathematical calculation to determine the electrical costs for each of the lighting districts within the city of Kaiser. There are approximately 210 separate lighting districts that we go through the motions with. Just for folks at home, the city does pay the electric fees up front and then turns around and certifies an amount on your property tax statements to be reimbursed for the electrical fees. With that, this current year assessment is approximately $405,000, which is about the same amount as last year. So we're not really seeing an increase in electrical costs just yet. Typically, we do use a lot of energy efficient lighting throughout the city, so that's the primary driver for that. With that, if there's any additional questions, I'd be free to address those. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any questions on the staff report on the street lighting district assessments? Is there anyone who would like to testify on this issue? I have no one signed up. Hearing none. Anything further before I close the public hearing? Public hearing is now closed. Council President Smith.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I move the Kaiser City Council adopt resolution R 2022 certification of lighting district assessments for fiscal year 2022 to 23.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the Kaiser City Council adopt resolution R 2022 certification of lighting district assessments fiscal year 2022-2023. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed signify by saying no. Hearing no objection, motion passes unanimously with one absent. Item 7E, resolution adopting the fiscal year 2022-2023 budget making appropriations, and imposing and categorizing taxes. This is a big one. All right, public hearing is now open. Mr. Wood.
Madam Mayor, City Council, this is always the moment that my heart kind of stops for a few seconds as I try to catch up with the rest of the year. By state law, the City Council must hold a public hearing, receive testimony, and adopt the upcoming fiscal year budget by June 30th, 2022. If we don't do that, then the city doesn't have appropriations to be able to spend into the new year. So it does give my heart a little bit of pause. Having said that, the Budget Committee met on May 9th and May 10th of this year and made a few changes. They increased the appropriations for the neighborhood associations, and they also made appropriations for the American Rescue Plan Act Fund to provide money for the Kaiser closets. And they also increased appropriations in the American Rescue Plan Act Fund to provide some dollars for the American Wet Eagle purchase, or the Cold Wet Eagle metal sculpture purchase. And I don't want to steal the thunder, but I guess Lori already indicated that we got $5,000, which makes me very happy. Having said that, we do have two outstanding items that are being brought back again tonight. We do have a budget request from Chariots. They're looking for $30,000 of our Arpa funds to restart the K through 12 free fare program. That gives students an opportunity to ride the buses for free. It gives them the opportunity to participate in after-school activities, hold down jobs where they might not otherwise if they don't have transportation available. The other item, I apologize in advance for this. I did not mean to go completely sideways at the budget committee meetings. The request from the Kaiser Public Arts Commission for $6,000. I broke just about every rule that I have established for myself with this one. Typically with city committees, we don't really do budget requests for them. We haven't done requests from them since like 16, 17, so it's been a while. So they kind of fall into the general category of expenses for us, and we just look back at the last 5 to 7 years and kind of come up with an estimate. So that's why we started off the night on a bad foot with differences between this year's budget, what I thought they had and what they had. So I apologize for that confusion. However, I did find Sasquatch. we did buy Sasquatch.
Well, lucky you.
So having said that, like all of our specific line items that we budget for, some years we're a little over, some years we're a little under, but it's the entire category or program that is the important part. Having said that also, when the art group does find opportunities for us, we do what we can to try to make those happen. So we'll continue to do that because art is important within our city limits. So we do have a breakdown of the $6,000 of how they would like to spend that money, which is included in the packet. I think the other thing that kind of caught me off guard is the art master plan. I didn't realize how quickly they're going to ramp that up, which is exciting. That's good news for the city of Kaiser. So that's the driving factor, along with the totem poles, or the story poles, Sasquatch, and our murals. We're starting to get quite a collection that does need some maintenance and upkeep. So that's specifically why you're seeing the line item increase as much as it has. So with that, the total budget grossed up, all things considered, is $64,130,800. Tonight you have the opportunity to accept that budget amount, or you have the opportunity to make amendments if you so choose. And again, the two items that we had up for consideration was the Chariots request and the Public Arts Commission request. With that, I'm going to go ahead and stop talking, and if you have any additional questions, I would be free to address those. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. So what I'd like to do is extend courtesy to Ian Davidson, who is the chair of the Chariots Board of Directors, who came tonight to talk to us about this proposal. For those of you who might remember, we used to have a free bus pass program for K-12. And when Mr. Davidson brought me Director Davis brought me the idea, I said, yes, please, let's have this conversation. So welcome, thank you for coming tonight. And can you tell both us, but also the viewers, what we're talking about here for reinitiating that program?
Sure, thank you very much, Mayor. For the record, my name is Ian Davidson. I'm the board president of Chariots. And so as Mayor Clark just mentioned, our proposal is an intergovernmental partnership where the City of Kaiser, City of Salem, the school district, and then fingers crossed, Marion County joins us in piloting a return of K through 12 youth bus passes. So it's been well over a decade since we had that. Members in the community have expressed to me and to others that they feel that loss. In 2017, when the state allocated additional revenues to transit, we were able to reduce youth fares to 50 cents a ride, which is considerably low, but yet still an obstacle. And so if you forget those 2 quarters, you choose not to ride. And so that minor obstacle also lends itself as an opportunity. So because the revenue are so low to Chariots, we believe by splitting the costs amongst all these different governments, that we can pilot this program, evaluate it, because while I have a strong hunch that this will be wildly successful, that we will see all kinds of secondary effects, because when you give a student freedom to travel to where they need to go, they're more likely to take on a after-school job. They're more likely to attend after-school activities, which, oh, by the way, is highly correlated with higher graduation rates. So I think there are a lot of reasons to support this. However, in my experience, hunches are great, but data is better. And so at the conclusion of this year-long pilot, we at Chariots would provide you and other partnering governments with information about how it went. And then from there, we at Chariots, while I believe this would be a success, if it is a success, we would work diligently to secure funding to make this last for much longer than 1 year. And in the unlikely event that I get to eat my hat and it doesn't succeed, then it discontinues. So, yeah, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you so much for coming tonight. Really appreciate that. Questions? Councilor Reed.
Okay. I have a couple questions.
Sure.
So first of all, this piloting of the reboot seems almost like a contradiction in terms, as far as it's something we've done, but now we're piloting it. And so I just kind of want to make sure I was clear on the difference between the old program and the new program. So you're saying the old program was 50 cents?
No, so the old program back in 2011, when this was discontinued, was funded by the state's Business Energy Tax Credit, the BETC program, which for reasons that you can read in the Oregonian was discontinued. And as a result, that funding was lost. And this was at a time where Chariots was particularly hurt for revenue, and we cut all kinds of service as a result. That was one of the things that suffered. In 2017, because of the state's omnibus transportation bill, we received additional revenue to extend later weeknight services, weekend services. And one of the choices we made was to drop the youth fare down to 50 cents.
Okay.
So we've been working over the years to bring it back down. We just need a little bit more help to what I'm envisioning as a pilot. To pilot this program, and I'm confident that it will be successful. But until then, I'm having to rely on anecdotes from 10 years ago, and I'd prefer to rely on hard data.
So this version of this is indeed free for all youth? Okay.
Yeah.
I have a couple questions. You want me to just ask them all at once? Or?
Yes.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, so my second question was, you mentioned if it's successful, what are some of the metrics of your success? What kind of data are you wanting to collect from this?
Yeah, so the most obvious data we would have at hand is ridership data. And so we collect different fare type of data. And so right now we know how many youth ride the bus. And so what I would anticipate is increase in that. We experienced this anecdotally at least 10 years ago. I would anticipate a similar increase. And I would like to see surveys conducted of students. Now there's all kinds of empirical challenges of the best way to do this would be a randomized control trial. And I'm not comfortable saying, oh, half of you students don't get a bus pass while the other half do. So there's different kinds of surveys that I would like to see us conduct to gauge what other secondary effects there might be. So benefits for allowing them to get that after-school job without needing to take on a car payment and car insurance. So those kinds of things. So more qualitative, I suppose.
Okay, so more survey-based, because how I envision this is, the kid gets on, flashes the driver a bus pass, and gets on without necessarily being accounted for?
Oh, no, they would be accounted for.
So they
Yeah.
would, so you'd have both the surveys and the,
Absolutely, yes.
Right.
Now, when the student aboards the bus, they're not going to tell us, oh, I'm going to work. So we won't have that
Okay.
kind of granular.
so it's a little bit, the why are they boarding the buses?
Yeah. and-
That would be the survey based.
Right, and we're anticipating a surge in usage around when the bells happen, right? And so I think we'll be able to say, oh, well, when the bell goes off at 3 o'clock, yeah, there's a big surge at McNary. And so that will actually likely result in us needing to run what we call trippers, which are additional buses off cycle to accommodate that. And so that would be another indicator of the success.
Okay. My other question is, I believe before these free bus passes were distributed through the counseling offices at the various schools. Is that still the plan, or?
No, so this would be, we're still working out the details, but this would be something that you would, our goal is to eliminate as many obstacles as possible. Having to go to the counseling office to secure a bus pass for a period of time, a week, a day, 30 days, is an obstacle. And so it would be your student ID card.
Okay.
So I'd love to see near field contact where you can tap and go. I don't know if we'll yet get there. But I think probably a sticker on student IDs, for example. So at orientation in the fall, students would, as just part of their student orientation, would get that benefit.
Okay, and you do know that most of those ID cards are on their phones at this point, too.
That's wonderful.
So, yeah, it just.
Great.
Yeah, okay. And I guess my last question is how, do you have any concept of how you will be marketing this at this, yep?
Yeah, thankfully, that is not something that I do. We have a very capable staff that do that. We have a communication team that are more than adequate to that task. But yes, I imagine that we would have not only just general communication notifying the public, but deliberate communication to students.
Okay.
So going to where they are. Yeah.
Thank you, that's all.
Thank you. Councilor Herrera.
Actually, Councilor Reed covered mine.
Sorry.
Yes.
Both of them, actually. Mine was more concerned with data. Success would look like.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Yeah, I was watching the mind meld there going, yep, that was my question. So, no, I really appreciate, thinking holistically on the provision of bus service. I was on the Area Commission for Transportation when we had the student bus program, and then when it went away, and the data and information we were getting from Chariots at that time was that it was a huge loss. And we got a lot of complaints from parents going, now what am I gonna do?
Yeah.
And these weren't kids, it was across the spectrum of income, of students, either jobs, after-school care, sports, other activities, and the school noticed it as well. The students had to make a choice on how they were going to spend their after-school time, and it wasn't a choice that the school supported. As you're absolutely right on the participation in those programs. So I'm excited to see this happen. Any other questions for Councilor Kohler?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just a couple. Thank you for being here. That way we can ask the questions, and I appreciate that a lot. So the $30,000 ask is basically for the school year, or does it extend through the summer?
It would extend from the summer. So we're looking at a fall launch date to coincide with the school year, and then it would extend until the next fall, that pilot project period.
Okay, so at 50 cents a ride, where it is right now, that would represent 60,000 rides. Do you anticipate that many rides?
Yes. Our current revenue right now is $330,000 a year. And so this would cover a portion of that. The city of Salem and school district, I'm anticipating that they will each contribute $150,000. And so this would be Keizer's portion.
So you feel like that our students are going to ride the bus 60,000 times during the year?
I'm fairly confident, yeah. They presently are in excess of 60,000 a year.
And then if this is successful, then where are you looking to get the additional funding for future years?
It's a wonderful problem that I hope that I do have. there's multiple avenues which we could pursue. I think the legislature is keen to do something around this. Washington State recently, in their transportation package, deliberately made under 18 youth fares free all across the state, extended to ferries, Amtrak, the whole gambit. I think that would be a wonderful selling point to be able to say, hey, we ran a pilot, this was the effect. Chariots, if need be, we would have, obviously I'm one of 7 votes, so I'm committed to this. So whether, wherever we find it, I'm committed to, if this pilot proves successful, finding that funding for continued service.
Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate you doing that. I look forward to seeing the data.
All right. Thank you. Council President Smith?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I remember my kids used to ride the bus for free. They're in their 20s now, but they did, and it was very helpful at times as a parent that was like off to work and the kid forgot to jump on the school bus, so they jump on the Chariots bus. I think it's really important right now, especially with our youth, with inflation the way it is, and with the gas prices the way it is. Some of those youth in our community are actually working to help support their families. And I think that we really need, I'm for this, and I'm not normally for things like this, but in this situation, I think it's critical that we support the families in this community that are being so highly affected by those gas prices and inflation, because it could make the difference between food on their table or not. So, thank you.
If I may, in fact, the most recent consumer price index indicated that there was a 25% increase in things associated with the automobile. So purchases, fueling, of course, as many are feeling, insurance, all of those associated costs. And so as a segment, car ownership was among the highest from year to year. And so this would go to alleviate that. And according to the Salem Keizer School District's own data, 84% of their students classify as economically disadvantaged. So there's definitely a need.
All right, thank you. Good question. All right. Councilor Kohler?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just one little follow-up. Mr. Wood, how do you feel about that?
I personally think it's a great program. I think if there's opportunities for us to allow kids to take employment opportunities, to do extracurricular activities, to make it to school on time, I think that's an investment in our community.
Thank you very much. I value your input.
All right, thank you very much. And, Councilor Herrera.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I have to echo Councilor Smith's concerns in terms of folks that need help. There's a segment of our community that really could use those, be very helpful in so many ways, whether it's a job or helping their family, like you said. And I happen to know some of those. So I think it's a great program, and I totally support that. I think it's well, it'll be well received and needed. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. And we appreciate you coming and talking to us about this program this evening. And thank you for bringing it to us. Oh, one more?
There you go.
Okay, nope. Who did I miss?
Well, I want to hear from our youth counselor.
Let's put her on the.
I saw that, so.
Last meeting, you have to make a comment now.
Sorry, Brent.
Well, like we said, she's always been a good sport about us putting her on the
Oh,
spot.
absolutely. And she always has insightful things to say, so I wanted to hear that voice.
I would agree. Youth Counselor Coleman.
All right, so from what I've heard, I think it sounds like a great program. I know, it can be easier said than done because nothing's really free, There's always a price behind it. So but it kind of sounded like you're not completely relying on Kaiser, right? It was like
No.
other
Yes.
places too, so it's not completely reliant on us. So hopefully the price of whatever it is to support this program can be split amongst others, so it's not as completely financially dependent on the city of Kaiser. Personally, I am a youth of Kaiser. Well, I guess I'm 18 now, but I was. And I do feel the hit of gas prices and stuff like that. So especially when I was in middle school or before I could even drive, I feel like having that as an option to me would have been awesome. Especially with being able, I was thinking missing the bus.
Yeah.
Some people can't go to school if they miss the bus. So if you would be able to, take the Chariots bus, even, be late to school, whatever, being able to still show up is really important as well. So yeah, I think it sounds like a great, great thing to have. I can't believe it. You said over a decade ago, right? Like, dang, I was like, oh my goodness. But yeah, so I hope you guys want that too. But yeah, those are just my thoughts on it. Sounds like a pretty positive, awesome opportunity. So yeah.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Thank you so much for coming tonight and sharing this program with us.
Thank you for
Appreciate
the
it.
opportunity.
The other request that we have is for the Kaiser Public Arts Association and back. To talk to us about that ask is Lori Christopher.
Get it? I'm sick of me too.
I like your sweatshirt though.
That's awesome.
Since I retired, I used to have to dress up and be fancy like y'all. And I said to myself, when I retire, I'm not going to wear mascara. And I'm going to wear t-shirts with a message. And so in the summer, it's short sleeve. In the winter, it's long sleeve. But I love doing it. It's super fun. I have a myriad of them for all different purposes. But today, it's Sasquatch. Okay, so I talked with the mayor about, so we've had a little bit of a kerfuffle regarding our budget. And our budget for the 2021 budget year was reduced from $3,000 to $1,500, but nobody told us. We had no idea that happened. We didn't get a chance to meet before the city council and the budget committee, which of course we would have done. So what the mayor asked me to do and what I sent out to you earlier this week was to just detail some of the expenses that we know we had that were not included in there. Now I know that's because there was a little bit of sleight of hand to move money around and still take care of all the expenses. I know that was nothing nefarious. I know that was all done with the best intent. However, it appears as if we only spent $373, which we didn't. We spent everything you give us, which we have been, the Kaiser Public Arts Commission started 7 years ago, and it started with $3,000 a year. And we've done exactly as you asked us to do. And so to that end, we have 3 murals, Valley Treasures, the Kaiser Iris Parade, and we have Insta Art down at the Kaiser Big Toy, which was done by a McNary student, Isabella Biondi. And we like to incorporate our local art students every chance we get. So we hope that you're going to see more of that with the utility box art. That's really what we're excited about. So $3,000 has been sufficient to cover these costs for the last 7 years. We've asked for an increase to $6,000, not realizing y'all cut our budget last year in half, which I have to say, if there was a year that y'all were going to do that, COVID would have been that perfect year because there was not a lot going on. And yet, we spent all of that $1,500 that you gave us. In fact, we had to push a couple of expenses into this budget year. We have 10 rotating sculptures along River Road, and the artist stipends are not paid by KPAC. They're paid by the Kaiser Community Foundation. The artists get $200 to $400 a year for allowing us to display their art. And we have 3 carvings. We have Sasquatch, which is an Insta Art installation down at Kaiser Rapids Park, and we have the 2-story poles. And a mosaic, which is going to be installed like in the next 23 days, because it has to be done by the end of June. And then we have interior rotating art in the gallery, which we manage. So as our art continues to grow, so do our expenses continue to grow. And that, for the care and maintenance of it. And that's a good thing. That is a good thing because we're called, Kaiser Public Art Commission is called to give free public art. Again, we're talking about how many people in our community, they can't afford a $10 admission into Hallie Ford. They can't afford to go to the Portland Art Museum. We want to provide art opportunities so that everyone can see them. And so with the rotating galleries, they're able to see fresh art, and Adam and I were just looking at it today. Beautiful stuff that is free to them and anybody that can come and see that art when this building is open. In addition to that, you've got an exclusive Pacific Northwest art form in the story poles that is available for anyone to see at any time. We have Insta Art for our children with Sasquatch and with the big toy art, so that they can stand in front of a dragon, a ladybug, and a butterfly. And so all of those things, I mean, there's constantly pictures on Facebook of our kids standing in front of that art and enjoying that art. And that's what we want to continue to do. We really think when we get the dancing cows up, we think that's going to be the tipping point, when people will really come. Cows tipping.
Yeah, we got it.
Okay. We think that's going to be the tipping point where people are going to say, hey, wait a minute, I love this stuff and I want more. And that's what we want. And we want to make sure that it's always free to anybody to enjoy. So the mayor asked for a specific request on what we're going to spend next year. We're going to spend $150 for replacement of a story pole sign. We got it was misspelled, and no one caught it, and so we have to replace that. So it's $150. We didn't have to replace that before July 1, so we chose to push it. We also donated $500 towards the mosaic contribution. Now, rumor had it that Parks and Rec just may pay for the whole thing, and if so, then we would not spend that $500. But again, we were able to push it because it's not done until the end of June, so we did. $2,000 is the artist payment that will go to Tara Choate, who is the designer of the Dancing Cows. $300 is for holiday cards, which are always, that's the Opal Frickie that did this year's, and it costs us about $150 to $180 to print, and then we give the artist who was the successful artist, we give them $100. We take their picture, we put their card inside a frame, and we give them a frame picture with a little plaque that says that they were the winner of the particular year that they designed the card for. Excuse me. And it's about $500 for carving ceiling. And James Lukanich, who has done the second pole and also done Sasquatch, he comes in once a year, usually in August when it's nice and warm, and he seals those carvings on an annual basis. So altogether, that's $3,400, which leaves $2,600 for the balance of, now that's our expenses going into the year. That's July 1, $3,400. Then we have $2,600, and our plan was to spend, in a normal year, we would spend about $4,000, leaving $2,000 for any grant matches if we get them, or if we have a student that comes up and says, I want to do this, we would be able to buy supplies for them and pay them a stipend. So that's our plan moving forward, is to spend $4, save $2 every year in case we have opportunities come up. So $3,400 is spent. We've got $2,600 for the balance of the year. The things that we hope to complete this year are the splash pad. It will absolutely happen. We've seen some of the preliminaries, and it's going to be gorgeous. There again, there's another art form that has not been available in Kaiser before from a world-renowned artist. Kim and I, Kim Steen, our chair, we were over at the old Kaiser School while we were waiting for our turn to speak with you this evening during budget. There is a wonderful muralist over there giving an art presentation, and it's art by number, and his stuff is fantastic. Another world-renowned artist. So as soon as I'm through with y'all, we're gonna walk right over there and say, let's talk how you could do this in Kaiser. So we're always looking for opportunities, and I have to thank the mayor. She's the one that brought us Didier, who is doing the mosaic. She brought him to us. It took us a while. It's been a couple of years, but yet here we are, and we're having a mosaic around our splash fountain. And that's what we love to do. And then we hope to finish the splash art, and we hope to finish the dancing cows. And if we get really lucky, we'll start with some utility boxes. And we have $2,600. If you guys fund our budget request, we'll have $2,600. Adam says it's about $800 a box, so we might be able to do a couple. Like I said, the McNary art instructors are excited, the kids are real excited. And we would just like to see that completely down River Road. And I'd like you to notice on the way home, a lot of art opportunities. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions regarding this budget, and I just hope that you will fund us for this year so we can continue to do fun stuff.
All right, thank you very much. Anyone else for questions on the art proposal this evening? All right, I think we're good.
Then show me the money. Now, do you want to
tuned.
talk about the Eagle now as well?
Is this on this budget, or is that supplemental? I'm looking at Mr. Wood, where that goes.
We don't actually have to take any motion on the Eagle, so
Okay,
we
so
can
that's,
leave as is, although I want to hear the exciting news, so
'Cause we-
there's that.
we said on the Eagle that have come back for council approval.
That is correct.
Okay.
No matter what we do, we have to come back and get council approval for the majority of the art pieces that we do actually acquire.
Okay,
So here's the fun news there. The Budget Committee approved the $15,000 ask pending approval by y'all, and we don't need 15,000. So we only need 10,000 because the owner of the property, Darren Block, it's the Block family, he does not want the Eagle to leave his property either, so he gave us $5,000. So now that $5,000 just stayed, and I had said, I'll still work for that and hope that I can get that back into the ARPA money, so I don't even have to do that because he's already given it to us. So do the same and give us the 10. Everybody loves that sculpture. It just, and I'll tell you, like I said, in the document that I sent you, I don't know if it's the timing. I don't know if people thought, I love the symbol of that eagle, and I love what that eagle represents. And because it's our national bird, and it represents courage, and it represents every time, sorry. Every time we drive by that, we're going to remember what we've lived through. We're going to remember 2 crappy years of COVID and how we as a community came together. It is a symbol of our resiliency, of our courage, and us working together. So I hope that you will approve that for time and time again so that we can continue to look at that and know where we've come from and where we're going.
Thank you very much.
Thanks so much.
Okay. Is there anybody else that would like to testify on behalf of these items on the budget? Okay. Sorry, wasn't quite expecting that. With that being said, I'm going to go ahead and close the public meeting. And we're going to go back to, does any of the councilors have any conversation or comments regarding either one of these items for the budget to be passed as is? Or are we going to do as amended, which would then, to my knowledge, include both of those asks, the one for Chariots and for the...
Only if you make the motion to add those amounts in.
Say that again?
Only if you make a motion to add those amounts in.
Okay, so
you have
it'd
to
be-
specifically call them out if you want to make an adjustment to the budget.
So I'm looking at the document here, and city manager or city attorney, the 2 motions, the option is to move it as amended. Would that include those 2 items?
As Tim was indicating, it depends on the motion, so I think the concept here is that you'd want to do those individually in case the council has a different idea on Chariots versus the art. So the issue would, well, probably the easiest way to do it is put a main motion on the table for the budget as is, and then an individual councilor can make an individual motion to amend that with regard to each separate item.
Okay. Does that work?
Sure.
All right. And I'll go ahead and say, I move that the Kaiser City Council adopt Resolution R 2022, adopting the fiscal year 2022-23 budget, making appropriations and imposing and categorizing taxes.
Second?
All right, for discussion. Councilor Reed.
Would be a friendly amendment or just?
You can make it as a friendly amendment.
Okay. I propose a friendly amendment, including the funding for the Chariots ask through the ARPA funds.
Second.
If there is
I
any
accept the
objection, you
second.
don't need to have a vote on this. Is the mover, who was the mover?
I was the mover.
She was.
Who was the second?
I was.
Okay, so the mover agree?
Agrees.
Is there any objection to doing this a friendly amendment?
Nope.
Okay, then it's amended, so you can go to the next one. Unless Councilor Herrera had a question.
The friendly amendment is done by the same second, it can be the same.
It could be anybody.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Clarification.
Should somebody else besides the seconder do the friendly
No.
amendment? Okay.
It's not necessary.
Okay. I propose another friendly amendment that we include the funding for the Kaiser Public Arts Commission ask of $6,000.
And I accept that.
And who was the
Is there any
second?
objection to the friendly amendment?
No. Does not look like that. So we have moved to adopt the Kaiser City Council Resolution R 2022, adopting the fiscal 22-23 budget, making appropriations and imposing and categorizing taxes as amended.
Second.
All right.
I want to make sure everybody's clear on the motion then. This includes both the items in Mr. Wood's report on the Chariots and that.
Yep. The Eagle is separate, as I understand, because
That's
that has to be
correct.
approved under, when the proposal comes with the contract for the purchase and so forth, that will be a separate council action when that is ready to go. But the Budget Committee recommended earmarking that money from ARPA for that purchase. And that was approved by the Budget Committee. So that's where it stands now, but that will be a separate purchase when it's ready to go, when the contract's ready to go. I'm looking at Mr. Wood, I'm getting an affirmative.
That is correct. The appropriations are already within the budget as it stands.
Okay, so that's going to be separate. Councilor Reed.
So I just wanted to make sure that there is, that's on somebody's list of to-do as far as that contract.
Oh, yeah.
Is that's on your radar?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. I'm sorry there's no enthusiasm for this. She said very facetiously. All right, thank you very much. And anything else? Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed signify by saying no. Motion passes unanimously with one absent, that is Councilor Starr. Let's go to item F, which is a resolution authorization for supplemental budget administrative services fund finance non-departmental, and resolution authorization for supplemental budget administrative services fund general administration. Public hearing is now open. Mr. Wood.
Madam Mayor, City Council, I have 3 adjustments for you tonight to consider. The first one is
just
related
one.
to the Finance Department. We did have a retirement, and we have $15,000 in accrual payouts that we would like to make a supplemental budget for. In addition, we also have $10,000 in claims against the city's liability insurance. This is nothing out of the ordinary. This is regular recurring kind of things. As you recall, during our budget process, we do budget for the base premium, but we have a retro policy. So in the event we do have claims, we have to go back and make a supplemental budget to move funds out of contingency into the correct line item to pay those claims. In addition, we have $15,000 of additional costs we weren't anticipating in the utility billing section. This is primarily associated with increased credit card usage, increased online bill pay activity, and unfortunately inflation associated with postage and printing costs. With that, unfortunately, we do have to make a motion for each of these individually. We can't lump them all together. That will give you the opportunity to vote up or down the different resolutions as you so choose. With that, if you have any additional questions, I'd be happy to address those. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. When I announced the public hearing for this, for item 7F, I failed to mention that third resolution, the authorization for supplemental budget, administrative services, finance, utility billing, because it's on the back of the page. So these are all 3. Any questions on any of the 3 resolutions? Seeing none, is there anyone here who would like to address the council on any of these 3 supplemental budget items? I have nobody signed up. Okay, seeing none. Anything else before I close the public hearing? You good? Public hearing is now closed. Council President Smith.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I move that the Kaiser City Council adopt Resolution R 2022, authorization for supplemental budget, administrative service fund, finance, non-departmental.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded that the Kaiser City Council adopt Resolution R 2022, authorization for supplemental budget, administrative services fund, finance, non-departmental. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed signify by saying no. Motion passes unanimously with one absent. Council President Smith.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I move the Kaiser City Council adopt Resolution R 2022, authorization for supplemental budget, administrative service fund, general administration.
Second, sorry.
It's been moved and seconded that the Kaiser City Council adopt Resolution R 2022, Authorization for Supplemental Budget, Administrative Services Fund, General Administration. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed signify by saying no. Hearing no objection, motion passes unanimously with one absent. And once more for the good of the order, Council President Smith.
I move the Kaiser City Council adopt Resolution R 2022, Authorization for Supplemental Budget, Administrative Services Fund, Finance, Utility Billing.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the Kaiser City Council adopt Resolution R 2022, Authorization for Supplemental Budget, Administrative Services, Finance, Utility Billing. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed signify by saying no. Motion passes unanimously with one absent. And that concludes our public hearings for this evening. We are now going to go on to item 8A under administrative action, which is the artificial turf fields at Keizer Rapids Park. City Manager.
Okay, good evening, Madam Mayor and council members. We're going to wait for just a minute for the tech to catch up with us. Yep.
Pictures, yeah.
Technology,
Yes, we,
presentation.
yeah.
It's a collaboration of work from, actually, most of the staff at some point. We've had a lot of water cooler discussions about this and then office discussions about this. So what we're talking about here is the turf soccer fields at Kaiser Rapids Park. The proposal received from Marion County as a partnership with the city of Kaiser. So I'll just go over the agenda. First is what the actual ask from the county is, and then some brief analysis of what we've looked at on grass turf versus artificial turf, the maintenance, partnerships, possibilities with partnerships, revenue generation, and the net impact it would have. So what we're talking about is 2 artificial turf multi-use fields. Generally, these consist of football, soccer, and lacrosse. Rugby also could be played on there. And it's talked about that we could do softball. For any of you wondering how a softball field might fit on a multi-use turf, there's an example of it. They also do one with a 90-degree angle to the end, to one of the end zones, so that the outfield would swing over across the infield of a football or soccer field. So there's a couple of different ways they do that, but I had to do a little bit of research to understand that in my own mind, because I hadn't seen it before. So just some benefits and cost comparisons of grass versus turf. Grass is, you can imagine, has a higher annual cost because you've got to have somebody out there mowing it and trimming, which needs either electricity or gas, neither of which are cheap, but also marking and chemicals to maintain the turf quality. Artificial turf has a higher upfront cost, but the replacement costs and overall maintenance of it is quite a bit lower as you've amortized those costs over the lifespan of the field and equipment that needed to take care of it. This is consistent with the Parks Master Plan. This is from the Parks Master Plan, and you can see it includes 2 multi-use sports fields. It has a north-south orientation on this one. That's because your sun comes east to west, so that's the ideal orientation of the fields. And parking is also anticipated and planned for in the master plan. And what I would say to you is I've spent my time thinking about this, is the council adopted this Parks Master Plan revision, and there's going to be a cost to it. And so we want to use it our money the most efficiently as we can. But if we want to have those amenities, it's gonna cost something. So we have to build that capacity in to cover that cost if we want to actually build those things out. So if we look at the annual maintenance cost for grass turf, it's anywhere between $18,000 to $44,000 a year. Artificial turf is around $6,000 to $10,000 a year. The artificial turf, the maintenance required there is the rubber granules that you spread or you're constantly grooming, and there's some chemical application to stop vegetation from growing even within the artificial turf, since it is a nice aerated place for things to grow. And as we know, everything grows around here, and everything grows on everything around here. At least is what I'm learning. So, coming from Eastern Oregon, the grass turf. This is a big difference. Also, is only available for use about 800 hours a year. Artificial turf can be used up to 2,800 hours per year. So per field, you're going to get 2,000 more hours of use possible. So I think that's really important in terms of level of service.
Yeah.
These are the types of things you need for capital and equipment to be able to maintain turf, artificial turf. First of all, a sinking fund that would be able to replace the actual turf. And then this is the equipment, a boom sprayer, sweeper, broom, painter, groomer, cart, a field magnet, and rollers. And I don't know about you, I didn't know what any of those things were, so I had to Google them. And so there's some pictures of some things that, just so you have an idea what kind of turf. So all those things need to be pulled by something, which is where the multi-use cart comes into play. So also those things are probably in use at the other turf fields in the community. We have a soccer club that has turf fields. We also have a high school, very close proximity to Kaiser Rapids Park, and a community church that has a turf field in the Salem Kaiser area. So there could be partnerships to explore there. And then the annual care with all that equipment is the painting and paint removal, top dressing and infill, sweeping and brushing to keep the turf granules level. And sometimes you get turf rips, and so it's just like carpet patching. They patch it together underneath, spraying so that no weeds grow in it. The labor to do that is we've calculated about a quarter-time person per field to be able to do that. So what we're looking at is about a half of FTE annually to be able to care for those additional fields. But that is, I think, a lot different than having somebody to mow and do all the things you would have to do with real turf. So the capital reserve would be $125,000. The annual maintenance cost $60,000 for a total estimated annual cost of $185,000. I've had the good fortune to be able to talk to several of our partners. Had a good conversation with the Women's Football League, who currently use McNary for their home turf and home games. However, they are interested in expanding their program for women to do flag football. That would perhaps get them into their other full contact league. And it's possible that they could consider this as a future home venue, but that would need some additional amenities, additional facilities, because as it's a national women's football league, and they're trying to air about 2 games a week in that women's football league. So it needs a grandstand where they can have the videographer and the ability to for a set of cameras around the field. So, but if it came to that point, then I think we would have some additional revenue from them to be able to do that. But right now, the high school is providing their home facility, but they did say that they'd be interested in using it to expand their program. Also met with Mid-Valley Soccer Club, and they also expressed an interest to use this for a game and practice venue. They use grass fields only right now, and I take that back. Some of their competitive programs do rent the high school field for use, and they are competing with all the other sports that are using that venue. And as we've mentioned before, the high school is, Halsco fields, from what we understand, are fully booked. And we think there could be some partnerships there with the equipment sharing and maybe even some labor sharing. There's also some things to consider with those partnerships. Maybe there's an annual fee per club or organization, and they get for so many hours, or it's the hourly fee that we ran through in some calculations. One of the soccer league said that they might be able to take over the scheduling for us, which is another possible partnership for us, and also the sharing of equipment. And I was just telling Councilor Reed, when I drove my kids by the high school yesterday, we showed them, we drove by the field and I saw that Les Schwab was in the turf there. So there's some turf advertising and sponsorship possibilities also. And I've got another picture too of an outfield I'll show you, but it's of the similar revenue generation possibilities. So if we look at the private field versus public fields, we found a facility in Portland, Plex PDX. They charge $150 an hour, flat rate. If we ran a very conservative number of hours, we could easily recoup costs. However, most of the public turf fields that we found as comparisons, and the one you see on the right there is Lake Oswego, we're more likely to have a tiered approach that give a benefit to local organizations, local clubs, and then outsider clubs or tournaments might pay at a higher rate. But that's going to cut into the revenue generation. Obviously, if you tier that out and give breaks to local. But one thing I wanted to emphasize that I think I said in the staff report is our soccer club is serving 1,400 kids in the Kaiser area. They have about 1,000 kids in the recreation program. Those are typically services provided by a city or a special district. We're very fortunate to have a nonprofit providing those services for kids. And then they have another 400 kids that are in a competitive club program. And the club programs, they're typically more likely to fund themselves than the rec soccer, which is more of a benefit to the community. And so we put together 4 different scenarios. The first one is at an hourly rate of 125 hours per week, assuming each field was booked 3 hours of the week, or 3 hours per night, 7 nights a week, and using 9 months of the year. Realistically, after talking with the club sports, they actually only get about a month off. So they could probably be programmed for 11 to 12 months a year. And if we broke that down into a two-tiered rate with a bigger discount for local clubs, this isn't at the level that we saw in Lake Oswego or some of the other cities that we looked at, but just breaking that down into a rate of 125 and 75, you lose a lot of revenue, and that's going to affect the bottom line. And then ran a third model at a three-tier rate of 125, 75, and $50 an hour. And this is the other slide that there's also potentials for advertising. I didn't calculate the cost of the Jumbotron at the park, but maybe in the future. Yeah. But sponsorships, concessions, food trucks is something the work group brought up that I thought was a really great idea. And, but if we look at those three models, from charging that flat rate of $125 an hour, you can see we could possibly make some money. I think the more realistic model is probably between the 2-rate and 3-rate model revenue. So it's going to cost something, but as I said before, if we look at both options of turf versus artificial turf, this is a much better option. It's going to cost less, the replacement costs are less, the maintenance is less, and we're going to be providing a service that's better and given our climate, and will serve our kids for a lot more hours. That's just a graphical version of the table. And so the work group met, and these are the three recommendations that came out of the work group, in addition to moving forward with the turf field agreement and directing the attorney to work with Marion County on the agreement. And they were to run sewer to the bathrooms from where it is. It comes to the edge of Keizer Rapids Park right now. So move the sewer to the bathrooms, which would also set up areas for food trucks to be able to plug right in, and with electric also. And also to communicate with the neighborhood association, specifically West Kaiser Neighborhood Association. So the recommendation coming out of the committee was for the city council to move forward with the intergovernmental agreement with Marion County to fund 2 turf fields with those 3 recommendations as amendments. And that's all I have for you. Happy to take questions amongst the staff here.
All right. Thank you very much, and I really appreciate all of the teamwork that went into the proposal that we discussed at the work group, the great conversation we had over the 2 meetings. So what you have before you is essentially part 1. It wasn't worth going out and building up a lot of partnerships and talking to a lot of people if we weren't sure we were doing the fields. So a lot of this model demonstrates that even at a beginning level, this is doable. And that's what we were looking for as a work group, to be able to even come back to the city. Even if we had no additional funding between the systems development charges and ARPA funds, we can do it today. Now, are we going to do it that way? Of course not. There's, as we heard, that there are opportunities to enter into partnerships to reduce the cost for construction as well as the cost for operations. But just to make sure that we could get to yes at this point, so we can give Marion County the yes, because they need to get this money to us. The other part is that, as I understand it, that this would be Marion County writing the check, and this project is operated by, run by, and the property would then be operated by the city of Kaiser, not by Marion County. Now, will they want to partner with us later on and help us with stuff? Oh, absolutely. We know where they live. But for this project, it would be City of Kaiser project. Am I correct on that, Mr. Brown?
Yes, that's a correct assumption. And the only condition being that we produce 2 multi-use turf fields.
Right. So we have to deliver on that. So any questions, comments, discussion on the proposal by the turf field work group? All right, and then once we have taken care of this step, then we will talk and bring back a proposal for next steps on either task force or some other means by which we are going to then move forward with partnerships and opportunity on the construction side and then on the operations side. But that's going to be developing over the next several months at least, is what I anticipate. Ms.
Yes,
Brown?
and so, Madam Mayor and Council, we're looking for a consensus to direct Mr. Johnson, or Attorney Johnson, to work with Marion County on the agreement to bring forward to you.
Okay. Do you have any motion or consensus? Mr. Johnson?
I believe Mr. Brown has a proposed motion there at the top of the packet.
Okay.
So that would be appropriate.
Council President Smith?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I move the Kaiser City Council direct staff to prepare an intergovernmental agreement between the City of Kaiser and Marion County for the acceptance of a $2 million Arpa funding to build 2 artificial turf fields at the Kaiser Rapids Park with parking and other committee recommended design considerations.
Second?
All right, what page are you on?
It's on page.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded that the Kaiser City Council direct staff to prepare an intergovernmental agreement between the City of Kaiser and Marion County for the acceptance of $2 million in ARPA funding to build 2 artificial turf fields at Kaiser Rapids Park with parking and other committee recommended design considerations. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed signify by saying no. Motion passes unanimously with 1 absent, that's Councilor Starr. Fabulous. All right, let's go on then to item 8B. Resolution authorizing the mayor to send a letter to the city attorney regarding evaluation recommendations and observations. This goes to Ms. DePina? Or is it? Okay.
Mayor Clark and City Council members, as you are aware, the city's yearly performance evaluation has been completed and the council's determined performance is satisfactory. The attorney's contract requires action to be taken annually to extend the contract. There's a provision that the council express in writing any recommendations and observations, and this provision is met by authorizing the mayor to send a letter to the city attorney. This resolution in front of you authorizes such a letter. I am available for any questions.
All right, thank you very much. Any questions on the staff report? All right, Council President Smith.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I move the City Council approve Resolution 2022 authorizing the mayor to send a letter to Shannon Johnson on behalf of the council stating that the requirement to provide written recommendations and observations has been satisfied.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded that the Kaiser City Council adopt Resolution R 2022 authorizing mayor to send a letter to Shannon Johnson on behalf of the council stating that the requirement to provide written recommendations and observations has been satisfied. All right, any further discussion? Councilor Kohler.
Yeah, just a question, is that reviewed at all before it's delivered to Mr. Johnson by any of us or just by the mayor?
It's actually in the packet. That letter is on page 276. Right there.
Okay, so any of the things that we talked about in the meeting wouldn't necessarily be in this. Okay.
Right. That was under executive session, so anything further would be still part of the executive session.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments or discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed signify by saying no. Motion passed unanimously with 1 absent, Councilor Starr. All right, we're kind of down to it, so push through for the next 20 minutes or take a break?
Push through.
Push through, all right. Council President Smith, consent calendar, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. There are 3 items on the consent calendar. Item A, resolution authorizing the city manager to award and enter into an agreement with the Knife River Corporation for 2022 pavement resurfacing. Item B, resolution authorizing the finance director to enter into lease agreement with Rico USA for 2 police department copiers. Item C, approval of the May 16th regular session minutes.
Thank you very much. Are there any polls? Seeing no polls, Council President Smith.
I move the Kaiser City Council approve the consent calendar, items A, B, and C.
Second?
The consent calendar Items A, B, and C have been moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed signify by saying no. Motion passes unanimously. Other business, this time is provided to allow the mayor, city council members, or staff an opportunity to bring new or old matters before the council that are not on tonight's agenda. Council members, anybody have other business to bring up at this time? Mr. Brown, does staff have any other business to bring to council at this time?
Thank you, Madam Mayor and Council. I don't believe staff have anything to talk to you. Okay. Ms. DePina.
We do, Ms. DePina.
Thank you. I just wanted to make public 2 recruitments that we have open right now. One is our community center coordinator, which closes this Thursday. So time's a wasting. If you know of anybody or if you yourself are interested, please get online and go to the City of Kaiser current openings page and check it out. Any questions, call us. Also, our accounting specialist position was just posted. It closes on June 28th, so quite a bit more time on that one. I encourage everybody to take a look and encourage others to apply. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. And other staff updates. Mr. Wood?
Nothing here, thank you.
All right, Ms. Davis? Nothing, thank you. Chief? Mr. Witham?
No, Madam Mayor.
Mr. Lawyer?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just one thing. Just ask that everybody be considerate of our park staff. They're trying to keep ahead of the weather to get the grass mowed. It's been a bit of a challenge the last 6 weeks. Thought we were going to have a pretty good opportunity here this week, but the weather's not looking so good toward the end of the week. So they're doing the best they can to get it cut, keep it down, but it's been a problem. So patience, please, patience.
Yeah, I have the same problem with my yard. Every time I look outside, it's pouring, and so it doesn't look all that spiffy either. So totally understand that, and thanks for staying on top of that. Can you also update us on the maintenance and the bioswales?
Yes, our contractor, I'm trying to be somewhat nice about this, was failing. I'll just not be as nice as I thought I could be. Put them on notice. We felt they were in breach of contract. We gave them a deadline to take some action. They did. They got right on things, made some pretty good progress. Because of that, I granted them an extension until the end of next week to get everything caught up. I sent them that notice late Friday afternoon. I've yet to hear back from them, but we're monitoring their work on a daily basis and what they're doing and what they're not doing. And if they fail to catch up by the end of next week, we'll take further action.
All right.
Which I will lay the groundwork now. If we have to end up canceling their contract, it's probably going to get worse before it gets better because we don't have the staff to do it. We're going to have to find temporary labor. We've already reached out to the Marion County inmate crews. They're not available. So we're going to have to find temporary staff to bring in to do the work while we go back through either an exemption process or a request for proposal process to hire another contractor. So hopefully these guys will step up, catch up, and continue on.
I hope so too. All right, thank you very much. Appreciate that. Councilor Kohler?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just want to update on the shade sales.
Columns have been removed. They're in Portland being extended. The contractor sent me color samples for the replacement sales because the yellow color is not available any longer. So I chose a bright purple because all of the other bright colors we already had. They're on schedule, on track. I don't have a completion date yet, but they haven't been told there's any holdups. So things are moving ahead as fast as they can.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anything else, Mr. Lawyer? Mr. Johnson?
Nothing tonight, thank you.
All right, welcome back. Council member reports. Councilor Herrera, can I start with you tonight?
Sure, thank you, Madam Mayor. This week, last week, we got together and formed our Kennedy Neighborhood Council. We have 9 board members as of right now, and I am one of them. So we're going to be we're in the early stages of forming this, and we'll be meeting in a few weeks to try to get everything going as far as what our goals are and our bylaws and whatnot. Also, this next week I have the League of Oregon Cities State Board in Central Point. And by the way, I must say this, in my travels on the State League of Oregon Cities Board, I run across a lot of city recorders all over. And I gotta say, there's a general consensus about how great our city recorder is from all the city recorders I meet all over the state. And they all know Tracy really well and speak very highly of her. She has a very strong reputation in her abilities here, and of course we know that. I've known her for 30 years. She's the heart and soul of this building. Anyway, I had to throw that in. I wanted to thank. I was on the board of the Beacons, which is an organization we try to raise money to offset the costs of athletes to participate in high school sports. And we, I believe you went to I invited you to one of our early ones. This year it's going to be held at the Elsinore on June 18th, and we are honoring Vic Backlund from McNary, who will be in town, and also two of my mentors who have been I've known for over 50 years, really. Francisco and Yolanda Tavera, the Tavera family from McKay, are being honored for their decades of volunteer work with the youth and the high school at McKay. Also, some community beacons are going to be honored on June 18th are Alan Bouchon, who we all know, Mark Gilman, and John Piper. And this is a great event. I'm no longer on this board, but I do participate, and I would invite everybody to join in. I think it's very reasonable. It's like $20 or something like that. But it's going to be a great program to honor our volunteers in the community, educators, sports world, and let them know they are really appreciated for all their longevity and their work. I also wanted to shout out to the Lady Celts who made it all the way to the semis and lost to Tiger in the semis. And they, by the way, Ali Martinez, who had one heck of a run, she had 4 home runs in the playoffs, and one of them was a grand slam. I thought it was incredible. Also, I'd like to shout out also to the baseball team that. We had 7 folks make the first team. Trevor Watliff, Cooper Kripe, Hayden Keizer, I believe. Is that right? Kaiser, okay. Eben Mayer, Gunnar Medina, Jake Allen, and a freshman named Jordan Arezia. And so they did is it wrong? Anyway, I just think they did a great job. I just think that's great that all of the athletes, whether it's girls softball, baseball, that's still going, and that's something we, as Beacons, support quite a bit. So I think that's pretty much all I had. The other thing I was going to say is that I like the way you handled the situation with the memorial for Jesse Blue Long. That was well done, and Chris, our new mayor of the south, is going to do a good job there. So that's all I got that really matters. So I'm looking forward to getting this council to get to know our Kennedy neighborhood council once we get going. And I'm going to invite you, Chief, to come and join to our next meeting. I'll let you know when we come. And it's in early stages, but I'm pretty excited about that because it's the second model for the whole Salem Kaiser after Hallman Elementary. And we think it's a great move for Kennedy Elementary and getting our neighborhood involved in community activities. So thank you very much. That's all I got.
All right, thank you very much. Councilor Reed.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm going to let Miranda cover all of the end of the year senior things because that's her deal. But I did want to mention that's been my world the past few weeks is getting seniors to that point. And so big congratulations to all of them. Let's see. I just wanted to shout out or appreciate St. Edward's Catholic Church in terms of their accommodating parking for teachers during the graduation ceremonies. There are 4 of those, and we would have been really hard pressed for parking in our own facility. And so we really appreciate the community partnership of St. Edward's Catholic Church for that. And so that will just make things a little bit easier. It'll be a challenge. The 45th Street Playwrights are going to be showcased this June in the facilities of the Kaiser Homegrown Theater over at the Cultural Center. So that should be an interesting artistic endeavor. We're excited about that. And then finally, the summer meal program for the Salem Kaiser School District. They will be offering summer meal programs at Cummings and Keizer, and from Monday through Friday, 11:30 to 12:30. But it is only eating on site. There will be no grab and go meals. It's just in the cafeterias, and so that is what is happening for this summer in terms of the meal programs. And then just excited about the new construction that is being started with Keizer Elementary. And I believe, Keizer Elementary is the one I know for sure. But getting those bond dollars, putting those bond dollars to good use, and we'll look forward to improving those facilities for those kids. So that is about all I have. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, and congratulations on getting those seniors to get their stuff all turned in. That's herding cats. You're very good at that. Councilor Kohler.
Well, thank you, Madam Mayor. There have been a couple of things I was involved in the last 3 weeks, but Chamber Greeters, of course, is every Tuesday. Again, tomorrow morning is at the rec, and then the community dinner, the Kaiser community dinner. I think Mayor Clark and our city manager, Mr. Brown, and I think there were some others that came to that also. It was well attended, a good meal. Commissioner's breakfast on the 26th in Silverton. I joined Councilor Duran and Mayor Clark for that. And then had 2 or 3 different meetings with the library Get to Yes committee to figure out a plan to help with the election coming up in November. And on Saturday night, I attended the McNary Athletic Booster fundraiser. It was lightly attended. I think the weather had something to do with that. They held it out at the log cabin, what do you call that? Anyway, it was outside. And it was raining for a lot of that. So anyway, it was lightly attended. This next year, it will be in the Kaiser Civic Center, and that will help a lot. Tonight was the McNary Orchestra farewell concert, which I missed. My grandson playing, and and them playing a tune that Hiram actually wrote. So anyway, I'm here instead. That's okay. There's several other music programs going on this week at the end of the year, and encourage you to go and attend those as you can. And just a shout out to Councilor Smith and Councilor Reed, the way they handled the audible in the mayor's absence for a few minutes.
Very much appreciated. Thank you very much. Council President Smith.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So I went to the can never say this. Traffic
safety bike ped.
Yeah, see, I keep saying we should just shorten that down.
I tried.
And they're doing really good work. I was excited to be there. It was the first time I was actually able to attend that since being assigned to take over for a different counselor. And it's exciting to see them kind of finding their groove. And it's impressive because they really know stuff that I have no idea what they're talking about. So I'm learning, which I appreciate. And then just this last weekend, I just want to thank all of the city of Keizer and Keizer citizens and Marion County and everyone. If you hadn't seen it, the Detroit Community Center, which we have all been pulling for and pushing for over the last year and a half, was they had the grand opening, and I'm on the board of directors for the foundation up there. And so it was a massive amount of work and a lot of organization, but it came off with it was amazing, you guys. That building was just a gym. That's all that was left. And it was actually that old high school that was torn down years ago. And the gym actually has been heated by the person who bought the property for 25 years so that the floor would be maintained. Wow. And I really, if you have an opportunity, you got to go check it out. They were able to purchase that property at a very discounted rate from the property owner who always wanted to give it to the city. And they built on City Hall to it. And now there's a spot for the Sheriff's Department to come up when they're working. There's a spot for, the county commissioners are having a breakfast thing there tomorrow. It's an amazing thing. We had over 500 people on Saturday, even though it was on top of a mountain in the rain. And I'm really glad it's done because it was a lot of work. But it was something that I think that we should all be proud of in Marion County, especially citizens of Keizer. I can tell you right now, there was a lot of people who helped out with it and a lot of donors. And to give that to the city and watch them be able to move into a building like that is amazing. They literally had their little city hall was in like a garage, and I don't even know if it was a manufactured home or what, but with the whole town being destroyed and then being able to open up that gym, and then we bought a bunch of basketballs and the kids came in and were playing in that gym, first time in 25 years. We were able to have one of the local citizens gathered all of the historical stuff from all the different high school graduating classes, and we were putting the pictures up of all the high school seniors all the way down the hall the night before. So it's a real tribute to the overall effort of the entire Marion County and all the cities. So thank you to everyone who has participated, supported, donated. I know Councilor Duran was there with me, and Dave Wallery, Marsha Wallery, they were there. All the county commissioners were there. And if you have a chance to read more about it, I'd really recommend it, because it was, for a town that had nothing left, it's pretty amazing what's come of it. So it's a great story of hope. So, and then now we can work on our library and some other things too. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Councilor Duran.
Thank you. Well, the two things that I did in the last couple of weeks were both commented on, so I have nothing more.
All right, thank you much. Youth Councilor Coleman.
Alrighty, so tomorrow is the graduates' last day ever, so that's super sad. Everyone else's last day is on June 16th. So on June 10th, this Friday, is graduation at 2 p.m., 4 p.m., 6 p.m., and 8 p.m. on the football field. Let's all pray that it doesn't rain, please, because I really don't want it to rain when I'm graduating. Anyways, got ahead of myself. Ticket distribution is on June 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th, but on the 6th, 7th, and 9th, it's from 11:35 to 12:10, which is lunch. And then on the 8th, it's also lunch, but just a little different because it's late start. And each graduate gets 10 tickets and you can get them in the counseling office. And then diploma handout is June 14th through the 16th from 1 to 3 p.m. at the registrar's office. There's a choir concert June 7th, 7 p.m. in the auditorium. And one last thing that's like not high school related, but it's Miranda related. And obviously it's kind of a haul because it's in Springfield, but on Saturday, July 9th, they're going to have Ukrainian Day at the Nativity Ukrainian Catholic Church in Springfield. There's 2 shows, 11 a.m. and 2 p.m. And I'll be performing for the first time in like 2 years. We haven't done this, so it's very exciting. So yeah, if you're in the area or would like to come out on July 9th, you should.
Send us the link.
I will also send the little card thing on my Facebook or something. But yeah, so that should be pretty awesome, especially with what's going on in Ukraine and stuff like that. It will be a really, really awesome event. So with that being said, I guess I'm signing out. Super sad. But thank you guys all again. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Miranda. All right, I'm about a quick cleanup on our reports. There's been a number of meetings of the League of Oregon Cities between Women's Caucus. I served on the Budget Committee, and 2 of the policy committees, Transportation and Community Development, have wrapped up their work, and the final list of issues that will be sent to all of us to vote on for our priorities for our lobbyists to work on in this next session will be coming out very shortly. It was great working with both of those committees, all on Zoom, and we had very robust conversations about key issues regarding land use planning, transportation, funding, and the whole 9 yards for statewide, big city, small city, and what that's going to mean for our communities going forward. The other thing I'd like to point out is to thank our city manager, Adam Brown, for being our special guest on the May edition of Coffee with Kathy. That program is now playing on Channel 23 on our KeiserTV.com channel, and you can find it on my Facebook page. So thank you very much for being on there, and I will invite you again to come and talk about what's going on with our city. So thank you for doing that. A couple of things. I was a guest for the Weddell Elementary Career Day. We had people from the Kaiser Fire, Kaiser Police. I got to be there, other people from different industries, and I got to visit with first, second, and third graders from the classrooms of Mrs. Rousseau, Mrs. Hurley, and Ms. Laughlin. So thank you to those teachers and the students for hosting me and having a great time visiting with those amazing students. Back to the legislative, the Council of Governments Legislative Committee has continued to meet. We met with the Small Districts Association of Oregon Executive Director Frank Stratton. This was a first, and it won't be a last. We're really trying to build collaboration between League of Oregon Cities, Association of Oregon Counties, and the special districts to make sure we're aligning on the kinds of issues we need to work together toward for our cities, our counties, and our special districts to be able to do what they're supposed to do, which is serve all of us in collaboration. Also, a very nice change, something that hadn't happened in many, many years, was at the Mid-Willamette Area Commission on Transportation. We actually had a commissioner from the Oregon Transportation Commission show up. I kid you not. They've ignored us for years. When we show up every 2 years to get recertified, yes, you guys are doing great work. We're like, great, talk to us. Julie Brown showed up, and we had a fantastic conversation about how the commission is actually going to be able to work with the 12 acts that have been established statewide. We're the brain trust, if they would just use us for the Oregon Transportation Commission, and Commissioner Brown got it. And we're going to be able to do some good work going forward with some strategic planning, better input to the Oregon Transportation Commission, and hopefully some better outcomes for transportation funding in all modes statewide. So I have some hope glimmering that we finally have some commissioners that are going to be listening to the representatives across the state. And I really have a lot of respect for Commissioner Julie Brown. Coming up, the Council of Governments Budget and Executive Committee meet tomorrow. We're going to have a work session tomorrow night, so we'll see y'all again real shortly here. Let's see what else is coming up. Number of other meetings. The Mid-Willamette Valley Homeless Alliance Executive Board, their meeting is a little later this month because we will be evaluating the proposals for the youth development, youth homelessness prevention grants that we are trying to give out, $3.7 million for programming that will prevent and end homelessness for our youth in our area. So very excited to get that money out there and get to work for us. And that is all I've got. Oh, for people, since Monday the 20th will be a holiday, they're still going to be holding Breaking Bread, Breaking Barriers. And the speaker this month will be Osvaldo Avila, who is the chair of the Salem Keizer School Board. Looking forward to hearing from him. That is all I have on my report. And I will go now to agenda input. We will meet tomorrow night at 7:30 p.m., a work session on the library proposal. On June 13th, we will do a joint work session with the Community Diversity Engagement Committee. On June 21st, which is a Tuesday, we will meet in regular session at 7 p.m. Yes?
I will not be able to be at that one.
Okay, so we'll have Councilor Reed will be absent. Okay.
The 21st.
21st, okay. And then on July 5th, again, another Tuesday, we will meet at 7 p.m. in regular session. And then on July 11th, we will have our regular scheduled work session. And I think we're finally going to do emergency management. I hope. We've talked about it for a long time, and maybe we're going to finally have that conversation. All right, so keep that one on your calendars. Anything else for the good of the order? Again, thank you to Council President Smith. I had to step out, take a personal phone call that was quite urgent. All right, the time is 9:32. We are adjourned.